Now, this player I think is going to be a little bit controversial. Desmond Howard won the Heisman for Michigan in 1991. He has the iconic pose, which he's doing here in the picture, which is actually not the right Heisman pose. As you can see with the statue behind it, it's a little bit different, but for whatever reason, this became the pose that players do when they score touchdowns in college and they're in the Heisman race. So credit to him for that. He had an interesting NFL career. He was drafted 4th overall, so definitely overdrafted for his contributions at the NFL level. Um, he struggled as a receiver at the NFL level, but became an elite returner, one of the elite returners in NFL history. You think about him, Devin Hester, Dante Hall, Brian Mitchell, I believe was the guy in Washington for a long time. So just one of the elite return men. And he actually did make an All-Pro and a Pro Bowl as a returner. So I wouldn't put him in the bust category, but not quite in the win category. He's another one that's like in the middle. But just by virtue of the fact that we're looking at All Pros and Pro Bowls, he did do that. He did achieve that. So we do put him in the win category for, again, Heisman success in the NFL. Rashaan Salaam. So he won the Heisman in 1994 with Colorado. So a lot of people don't know that Colorado had a previous Heisman winner before Travis Hunter, just because the program has struggled so much in the 2000s or in the modern era. But he was an all-time great college running back. He had 2,055 yards his senior season and 25 touchdowns. So an incredible player at the college level. Unfortunately, he is in the bust category. So he was drafted by the Chicago Bears, 21st overall, rushed for over 1,000 yards as a rookie, but he's most famous for his fumbling issues and some off-the-field personal issues that really derailed his career and cut his career short, unfortunately. So no Pro Bowls, no All-Pros for this fella. So definitely one in the bust category, which is not a great sign if you're talking about Colorado Heisman winners. But, Travis Hunter's not, he's not a running back, and he doesn't seem to have any off the field issues or any personal problems like this. So he should be okay. 1995. So Eddie George wins the Heisman for Ohio State in 1995. Another guy that's just an all-time college player, rushed for nearly 2,000 yards, 24 touchdowns. He is one of the most durable and consistent running backs of the mid-90s and early 2000s. Never won a Super Bowl, but got close with the Titans. He was a really fun part of those Oilers and Titans teams with Steve McNair. Just an iconic player with, his bald head and his massive shoulder pads all the time. And he just looked like he was carved out of granite. Just one of those players that you just marvel at his physicality and his physical ability. He was an All-Pro, made the Pro Bowl 4 times. He ends up rushing for 10,441 yards. And again, 4 Pro Bowls. Anytime you reach that 10,000 mark, that is just an easy benchmark of someone that had not just a good career, but a great career, especially at the running back position where the shelf life is so short. The average NFL running back is probably in the league for, 3 years or less. So the fact that he was in the league for as long as he was and as successful as he was with, Houston or Tennessee, and then he finished his career with the Cowboys, that cameo. But he is, of course, most known for being on those Titans teams, and the Titans team that fell very short, literally a yard short of winning the Super Bowl in 1999. So definitely a win category for the Heisman. Charles Woodson won the Heisman in 1997 for Michigan as a rare two-way player. So this is someone that Travis Hunter can model his game after and look at as an example. I mean, obviously he has Deion Sanders, one of the great two-way players in NFL history, in his corner, and someone that he can look up to as a mentor. But Charles Woodson was a Heisman winner and Deion was not. So he can look at Charles Woodson's career as someone who focused primarily on the defensive side of the ball. He did make some cameo appearances here and there on offense, but just the fact that he won the Heisman primarily as a defensive player is a testament to his talent. And of course, he is one of the greatest players in Michigan history, one of the greatest players in Raiders history. It's already, I think, 3 Raiders so far. So you could tell Al Davis had a real thing for Heisman winners. and he probably would have traded up to draft Travis Hunter if he had the chance to this year, if he was still around. May he rest in peace. But he was drafted 4th overall by the Raiders, 65 career interceptions, Defensive Player of the Year in 2009, wins a Super Bowl with the Packers, was a key part of that team that helped save Aaron Rodgers' legacy as a quarterback. So easy win. Mark it as a double, triple win because he's multi-time All-Pro, almost 10-time Pro Bowler, just one of the great players. And he played for a long time. Played, I think, till he was 38. So just an incredible player. And he also beat out Peyton Manning for the Heisman. So, and Randy Moss, if I'm not mistaken, and Ryan Leaf, but we don't need to talk about Ryan Leaf. But he beat out two also, fellow all-time great Hall of Fame level type players for the Heisman. So credit to Charles Woodson for doing that. Next, Ricky Williams. So he is another Texas running back. Just look at this guy in the picture. He was another guy that was carved out of marble, granite, whatever you want to call it. The Saints gave up their entire draft just to pick him early in the 1998 draft. He rushed for 2,100 yards and 27 touchdowns his senior season or his final season at Texas. Gets drafted 5th overall again by the Saints. He rushed for 10,009 yards, and he also had an 1,800-yard season in 2002. He's a guy that is probably unfairly remembered, mostly for loving to smoke weed and getting suspended. He goes to play in the CFL, probably for the Toronto Argonauts. I remember very vividly the A on the side of his helmet and how it just looked cool. I really liked their uniforms, but it's just unfortunate that, if he did come up in a era where the NFL did not care about marijuana as an illicit drug or a drug that was worthy of suspension, he probably would have had a much better career. But he was one of the more fun running backs to root for, just an absolute workhorse. Succeeded with the Saints, had a good career, I believe, with the Dolphins, and then had a late career resurgence with the Baltimore Ravens, where he just looked so cool in that all black, and he always had the visor, and just one of the coolest players of the early mid 2000s. So he did not make an All Pro, but he did make a Pro Bowl, and again 10,000 yards. It's nothing to sneeze at. So definitely put him in the win category, even though he probably could have had a Hall of Fame level career if it wasn't for the marijuana. Or at least getting suspended for marijuana, I should say, because obviously the weed didn't stop him from succeeding at the NFL level. All right, 1999, Ron Dayne wins the Heisman for Wisconsin. So this was actually a controversial Heisman choice. A lot of people thought that Michael Vick should have won the award in 1999, but he was a freshman at the time, and I guess the college football writers didn't want to reward a freshman because they thought, if he's that good, he'll do it again next year, and he'll, win the Heisman when he's a sophomore, junior, whatever it is. So Ron Dayne is our first bust in quite a while. He never really adapted to the NFL. I think he was just too big and not fast enough, not explosive enough. He's kind of a tweener, not big enough to be a real power back and not fast enough to be explosive at the NFL level. Gets drafted 11th overall. Only has 3,700 rushing yards in his NFL career. So definitely a bust, and not because of injury or anything like that. I think, but people say he was an undeserved Heisman, so maybe we shouldn't even be talking about him on the list. It was kind of a, not quite a lifetime achievement award, but kind of a pity award or whatever, because people didn't want to give it to Vic. So anyway, but definitely a bust.